Welcome back to another edition of Film Room. Billy Jones, Ryan Schmadtke, breaking down Texas A&M. What is Mizzou going to see this weekend when they travel down to Aggie land? And we brought in back our friend Ryan Schmadtke, and you obviously have some personal experience with one major player on this A&M roster. You went against Marcel Reed every day in practice, and now the bye week. So a lot to get into today. I guess we'll start probably on the Mizzou side before we dive into Texas A&M. But Mizzou kind of escapes against Vanderbilt, but nonetheless finds their way to 4-0. But clearly there was a lot they were pretty intent on fixing in the bye week, and we'll get into some of the stuff and the corrections that they can make.
Yeah, Billy. First off, glad to be back after the bye week. Missed doing this. Excited to be here.
Appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy guy, so.
Yeah, well, I know you're busy too. Yeah, good win for Missouri against the hometown Commodores. I can't lie, I was looking in that game. I was happy to see Vanderbilt competing so well.
We hold no grievances here, Ryan. You're a consultant. You're not part. You're not a company man. You're a consultant. So feel free to indulge any way you want.
I'm happy Missouri's playoff chances are still alive. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, they can take some learning lessons from that game. You always want to learn in a win over a loss. I think we said that about maybe the Boston College game. So hopefully, they take some of those learning lessons, Billy, because they're going to be playing probably the best team they've seen so far this year. We'll get more into that, but should be an exciting game down in Texas.
Yes, absolutely. So, is this the wheel route on offense, or?
Let's see. I think first play here, we're just going some positives from Missouri. On the offensive side of the ball, I think it is that little throwback wheel route. We talked about it before the game, Billy. I think before the Vanderbilt game, putting Luther Burden at running back. What's that going to do to the defense?
Well, there's a lot of pointing.
Yeah, let's see, Billy. Two guys basically right in the same spot, running right to him. Billy, I think Vanderbilt's playing some sort of quarters look here. They played this a lot, and they've locked that backside quarterback. Actually, this happened to us in our game this weekend, playing the one team in D3 North Central. Fourth down, got hit on a little throwback. A lot of times, in that cover 4, when we'll go pre-play. You only got one threat to the boundary here, Billy. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 threats here to the field. Let's just go ahead and lock that cornerback, even if we're playing zone over here. Let them be aggressive so we don't see, quick comeback or quick hitch or something like that. But that comes back to bite him, Billy, because he's going to vacate the zone. 9's going to come at that wheel. Patterson realizes it late. But Billy, this is a great play design from Missouri. We talked about Luther Burden finding up at that running back spot. I think you're going to need some good play designs on third down and whatnot against this A&M defense. We'll get to them a little bit later, but they'll see a test. But good to see, Missouri progressing a little bit with this play design. Some counters to putting Luther running back and maybe not always getting the ball. So
and you hope
positive right here.
Yeah, and you hope Kirby Moore has a couple plays like this because this was an area of the field Missouri stalled out in a couple of times in that game against Vanderbilt. Was kicking long field goals, missed a couple of them, or not super long field goals, but decently long field goals. And you kind of hope that they have some stuff ready for Texas A&M because that's a part of the field they've excelled in this year. We saw it last time out against Arkansas. So you hope maybe Kirby's got some stuff dialed up. I want to ask you real quickly. One point we made earlier on our show this week was talking about scripting, right? How much help does that bye week give you in terms of scripting as a coordinator, or does it really? Do you have all the time you need in a normal week of preparation?
Ooh. Wait, can you repeat that question again, Billy?
So, when you're scripting that first drive, does the extra week of preparation help that much without drive, or do you have all the time you need in a normal week to script something up?
I don't know. I've never been an offensive coordinator, believe it or not, but I feel like from what I've observed my coaches, it seems like they don't get a lot of sleep. It seems like they're making time for themselves to, script whether or not they have the extra week or not. But I will say, I do think the extra week is going to help in terms of, maybe finding some tendencies. Yeah, maybe dialing it down. You hope Kirby Moore and Drakewitz are not overthinking things. But, extra week definitely he's going to benefit Missouri over A&M. I'll give him a slight edge on that. I think regardless, it may not be too much of an edge that people may think it is. If anything, for me, a lot of times, Iowa gives just a good time to get players healthy. I don't know what Missouri's injury status has been too much, but just time to get players healthy, recovered. Maybe take a practice off, but come back feeling fresh. So we'll see if that affects it at all. Sometimes you come out rusty too. So
yeah, Marquise Johnson currently the only guy on that injury report. So Missouri's been able to knock a couple names off that. Getting into another offensive play here. This was something that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, looking at this one, the first play, kind of positive. Excuse me, Billy. This one not as much of a positive, Billy. We'll get into it later again with the A&M defense, but excuse me. Yeah, my big point on this one, Billy, Brady Cook. Well, we'll watch Brady Cook first here. I don't know if you noticed anything about him, Billy, but the thing I noticed, this whole play is getting a little blurry here, but his eyes are looking at this receiver the whole time, Billy. A receiver who's not necessarily open, especially with this leverage. He's running basically, what do you want to hear? Basically a post and then a quick out, like a comeback or a post corner. A lot of teams will run that post corner. Actually, A&M ran one for a touchdown. We'll show that later. Cut it off really flat. Really, this cornerback is playing outside leverage. If I'm Brady Cook right now, I'm kind of realizing that we'll say right now, I'm thinking, all right, if my guy's running this post, double move, then out, probably not going to be my throw just because of his leverage. Might want to, go through your progressions. And he does. Look, right now, this safety's seeing it. So, on this broadcast, I'm pretty sure they brought up the point that this was a busted coverage, that this guy was wide open. This post is seeing him throw this ball and driving on it pretty much. So I don't know if it was a busted coverage, but if he's looking here, realizes this isn't the throw, and then looks up, you might have a touchdown, Billy. If he can look the guy off. One thing we talked about Brady Cook in past games being able to diagnose defenses and making the right reads. I feel like he is really good when he sees what the defense is in. We talked about Boston College. They show you a lot of times they're in cover one. They'll leverage their own. All right, let's get, Burden or Reese, whatever, on a quick out, whatever we want to throw it to him. I feel like he's really good in those scenarios when he's got his guy. We'll see how he does when having to analyze the defense a little more post snap, because he didn't look great against doing that against Vandy, who was a team that tried to disguise some. So yeah, hopefully he can make a little bit of step up in this next game. I think he's going to need to for Missouri's offense to move on.
We'll see if he can do just that. What did you see defensively from Missouri? A solid performance overall, but certainly wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I mean, Vandy's it doesn't sound like a real thing to say, but I think Vandy is a tough team to play now. Diego Padre, quarterback, Billy, which kind of brings a smile on my face. Vandy's a tough team to play, even though Georgia State or whatever knocked them off. But let's see if it's a low for me. But Padre's a good quarterback. He's a good running quarterback. Downside of all this, you're gonna face another good running quarterback this year or this week. So maybe a little bit faster than Pavia. Overall, not a bad game, but another big problem we saw it a couple times in the Boston College game. Billy, Missouri's been shooting themselves in the foot a couple times. This is another, classic cover 3 bust that we've seen Missouri make a couple times early on this year. Play action, talk about it. It's kind of blurry, Billy. Sorry, but this safety right here, you can see my pointer, right?
Yeah.
This safety going to the third, this cornerback going to the third, this cornerback going to the third, and then we'll see our 4 underneath defenders. Missouri, has been running this a decent amount first couple of games. This safety, Billy, kind of fight a little bit on the run. It's really not his responsibility. A lot of times you can get in there late, make a play, but ultimately his responsibility is the post. You call him a post safety, middle third safety. He's already late getting to there just because of that little run fake. But then not only that, he's going to see a guy. A lot of times this will be a crosser. This is just kind of like a flood route. But Billy, this guy right here, it's kind of blurry again. Sorry, but this guy's running to this single player zone, this curl flats player zone. Right now, it's harder than it looks as a safety to see this guy with this much space. And this could be a completion if he fits it in there, but ultimately, this is running to a different zone. As the play progresses, this guy's going to get more depth. He should be there. This guy's owns the post. Let the play keep going. Not there. Not a great job by the field type cornerback either. It's a little hard to tell, but he's running and he just stops. I don't know. You might see the same route too, actually. I don't know if he sees the same route or he thinks the guy's going to sit down. But ultimately, what that is in the secondary, Billy, is not trusting each other to do your jobs. If I'm a defensive coordinator and this is cover three, I'm sorry it's so boring. But if this pass is completed, it's this guy's fault. This guy's going to get chewed out.
Yeah,
or maybe not chewed out. But, some plays beat. This is a good play against coverage, but ultimately, this guy has to get to that route. These guys see that open route. They're not trusting their other guy to do his job. Both of them, bite on it. Deep ball, touchdown. That's how you let teams like Vanderbilt stay in the game, and let a team like A&M capitalize. Maybe win a game. So we'll see. Missouri's defense playing all right, playing well. They're not getting beat, but they're beating themselves a couple of times. Again, I think you talked about Drinkowitz talking about that in the post game that he's proud of the guys, but they're gonna get some things figured out before that operation for me. But
no worries.
This one's a cool play, Billy. I always love this one. Corner blitz. Love calling this one on the college football game or Madden and whatnot. Glad to see Missouri mixing it up a little bit. You can see pre-snap. This looks like this cornerback's going to be in coverage on him. Boom. No, he's not. He's blitzing. Gets quarterback. Good coverage all the way around here. This guy, they're basically running cover three, and this guy right here doesn't have an underneath defender. It's the safety. Over this third of the field. Up top, we got 4 threats. We're just matching 4 and 4 in zone. Hook curl flat, middle third, deep third. Good coverage. You can see, Pavia sits back. Boom, nothing's open. But Billy, if you're sending, I think they sent 6 guys.
Yeah.
Billy, if you send 6 guys, you got to get the quarterback. I mean, that's just, you got to get the quarterback. That's really all I can say. You got to get the quarterback. Pavia, great athlete, great pocket presence, but like I said, Billy, Marcel Reed also has really good pocket presence and is probably a little bit faster than him, probably a little bit more agile. So that'll be a big theme this week. What Missouri can do with that. We saw them a lot of times come in with that third down package with the QB spy.
Right.
We'll see if they can win on early downs and get that package out there, get a QB spy, you feel good about it. But on early downs like this, if you let the quarterback get under you, I mean, you basically had 2 guys there that are a free shot on him. It's not even about gap integrity. All the gaps are filled up.
You just got to go get him.
You got a free shot on him. Doesn't get him. It's a good play. It's a good play. But
yeah, certainly.
Anyways, we'll see what Missouri's made of. But
yeah, I mean, Pavia's a physical runner, no disrespect, but Marcel's definitely a different level of athlete, and we've seen that over the first couple of weeks. I mean, he's played 3 out of the 5 games, and he's A&M's second leading rusher this year. Over 250 yards, I think.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Especially as a redshirt freshman. I wish I could say I was surprised.
230 yards.
230 yards. All right. Let's see. Yeah, but while I'm learning from him, we'll talk about Marcel a little bit. Like you said, got to go against him in practice for about 2 or 3 years straight back in high school. Billy, we talk about his running, but I think an underrated aspect, which I'll get into here in a second, is his throw power, Billy. Let's see if I can pull up that first clip. But Billy, he's got a cannon of an arm. If you let him sit in the pocket, he's not one of those guys that you want to just, sit back, play QB5. He can rifle that ball, Billy. We'll show it up here. I was talking about that that post corner. Gets the guy in single coverage. And bang, that is a rifle, Billy. I'll play that again. Now, honestly, that we can talk about the coverage and whatnot on this play, but I think the big coaching point on this, or the thing to look at if you're you're the fan watching this game. I mean, that's a bullet.
Yeah.
That's high level throw power for a guy that can run too. There you're celebrating. Yeah, I had in my notes for Marcel. He's strength. Can scramble really well. He can run the ball really well. Um, if he's got a guy on a matchup that he trusts, he can rifle that ball in there with pretty good accuracy. If I'm Missouri, you got to try to do what you can to confuse him. He's still young. Hasn't seen a lot of college level defenses. If I'm a Missouri fan, I'm really hoping that the defense is going to dial up some, different pressures, some simulated pressures, anything just to try to, mess with him in zone coverage. Because they've got good athletes, Billy. I mean, Missouri's got great quarterbacks, but if he gets a guy in one-on-one that he likes, I trust Marcel to rifle it in there.
Yeah, I mean, Noah Thomas and Moose Muhammad are certainly elite receivers. And, I think teams have tried, but, he's for a freshman to come in, start 3 games and still have 0 turnovers. I mean, he's done a great job of taking care of the ball. And, maybe you don't look at the stats and it blows your mind, but when you sit in and watch him, he's making some great throws and, obviously continuing to put his team in a position to win, which is all you can ask for.
Exactly, Billy. Yeah, that I had that right here, very top of my notes for the Texas A&M offense against Arkansas. They had 0 turnovers. They forced 3. That was a close game, and I think they played really well outside of the turnovers. But without those 3 turnovers that they forced, and if Marcel maybe throws even 1 pick, that game could very well go another way. So that yeah, he's been really smart with the ball so far. You hope Missouri can try to force some turnovers. And this Billy right here, talking about their offense, I think right away in this game, and I feel like watching the past game too. I know that Florida game, it was raining really hard, so that probably affects the play calling. But this is the first long pass he threw all game. They're just going to try to lull you to sleep with some read options, quick runs. They got a lot of quick passes going on. But then right away, they come out, and this is one of his first long throws of his career, first long throw of this game.
Boom.
Van An's right on the money. Like we said, Billy, this is just a little double move. This cornerback, let's see, he's playing outside, but he's really kind of in a one-on-one because he's trying to bite on that post. Little poke, you call it post corner. They set it up flat, bang, touchdown. Yeah, look for Missouri to play a lot of zone coverage. If I'm them, I want to play some zone coverage and try to confuse them. One thing about man-to-man, Bill, is if you're playing too much man, we talk about the Cuban squad, but if you're playing man, if I'm a defensive back, my eyes are on the receiver. I'm taught to look at the receiver and follow him wherever he goes. Or if I'm in zone, ultimately I'm peeking the receivers, but ultimately my eyes are on the quarterback. So it's going to be harder for him to, roll out and do his elusive thing and, get around their defense. So,
and I have to imagine.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I'm Missouri, I'm hoping we're playing a decent amount of zone, but, hopefully mixing it up and trying to confuse them. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I'm Travis Williams calling this game for Arkansas, if I'm making, I think to myself, man, if I'm making this quarterback, throw the ball 35 yards across the field, 20 yards down the field, he may be able to complete that pass, but at least, my cornerback's going to be there in time to clean up. But, when you get the ball out that quick and you have that level of separation, that's what allows you to turn a small play into a big play. And that to me was, what was so impressive about that throw was giving Noah Thomas the chance to go make a play after the catch.
Yeah, exactly, Billy. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Ultimately, worst case scenario in the defensive mindset is, well, at least we make the tackle on that play. But he had so much time there to just easily step out of that tackle. I mean, you don't have much of a chance here. You're the corner, so we'll see what Missouri can do with that. Wanted to pull up this play just to show, what their base run offense will look like. This is just a simple read option. I think we got a little pull, so probably like a power read option. But we'll let this play out here. And for the non-football fan, a read option, you got Marcel here. He's reading this defensive. It's one of these. I think it's this defensive end. He's reading this defensive end, or whatever apex player you got out here. All your guys are blocking down. If this guy crashes, you're gonna pull the ball, run it yourself because you're Marcel Reed and you're kind of fast. If not, if that guy, sits out here, patient, plays a quarterback, ain't gonna hand the ball off. Effective way to take a guy out of the, take a hat out of the run game. Here, Arkansas does a good job. I was talking about this a little bit going into the Boston College game, Billy. That concept of having my DN play really aggressive and then a backer scraping over top. Arkansas knew that they were going to run a lot of read options. Game plan is pretty well. What you're going to see is this lineman right here ends up kind of saving the play, but this end is taught right now, bang, crash really hard on the run play, with whatever call they're in right now. I know we're not looking at some people, we're just talking about something Missouri could do, which they did do against Boston College a little bit. This guy's going to crash hard on the running back because you're basically letting him go for free. And now this guy will scrape over for the quarterback. You can see this lineman really blocking down. He's not trying to block him, but ultimately has no one, so he gets back to him. But you see that linebacker scraping over for the quarterback, Billy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see if we talked about that. I talked about that as a good counter for Boston College. If I'm watching Missouri defense, I expect them to do that some. That's a good way to stop the read option. And then also, this is the front side of it is who ends up making the play. So I don't know. Right. We'll see. We'll see what that's going to be a big story for the game, Billy. If Missouri can stop the run early and force Marcel into third downs, then you can get a quarterback spy and get the ideal pass coverage that you want. You feel good about it. But if you let them eat you up in that run game, running that read option and whatnot, it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, and certainly there was a little bit of turnover from the staff this offseason, but there's still a solid amount of position coaches that have been here the last 2 years, and that's when Missouri's gotten to face Colin Klein offenses at Kansas State, where they were running some similar stuff. We saw it last year. They've been able to move the ball decently well against Missouri, so you hope Corey Batoon's maybe been leaning on some of those guys when they talk about tendencies. One thing I'm interested to see, we've seen Marcel have a pretty good connection with Theo Olstrom, who's this 6'7" kid from Sweden who picked up football about 5 years ago, who plays tight end. Missouri had a lot of trouble defending Ben Sinnott last year in the game against K-State. We'll see if Colin Klein goes back to the big tight end this week.
Yeah, that's a good point, Billy. Especially for a young quarterback, I'm glad you bring that up. Anytime you're playing a young quarterback, you got to know that he's going to have one or two targets that he really likes. He had limited reps working with all these guys going into the season because, like we said, he was the backup going into the season, so he's not getting those first team reps like Wegman was all summer, all basic spring, summer, fall, whatnot. So he doesn't necessarily have that, that same connection, the starter may have. So, like you said, Billy, if he feels good about that tight end and there's maybe a receiver too he feels good about, and if we're a defensive coordinator, we can capitalize on maybe the guys he wants to throw to him, man. We'll see if that leads toward the team. And I'll pull this one up too, Billy. This one, again, we can talk about the X and O's of it, but this is just another one that want to show Missouri fans kind of looseness we're dealing with Marcel Reed. It's not as simple as just sit back in coverage and cover all the receivers and bring a 4-man rush, because even if you do that, you can get out of the pocket, extend the play a little bit, and then you can't cover forever. So,
yeah, you want to sit in and just talk about his scrambling ability, but he could probably pick up the first down with his athleticism. But there he decides, I'm going to keep my eyes downfield, and does a good job of setting his feet and throwing the ball. Just the poise from him is impressive. And this is nothing new. He came in as a freshman and started the end of the season back in high school. So he's a kid who's used to being a young guy and carrying the weight of this team. And I haven't been surprised at all at the poise he's shown so far.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. Yeah, came in as a freshman starter in high school as well. So he's confident in that situation. I don't think he's gonna be too rattled in front of the crowds or whatever. And yeah, like you said on this play, like this isn't a pre-snap read that he's making. He's just playing football here. He's basically playing backyard football here, which is one of the most frustrating things for a defense. When you're playing a quarterback that, even if you guard a guy right away, the play's not over. He's going to start scrambling around, and then all of a sudden, then it's really hard to guard for more than 4 or 5 seconds or whatever the average play time is. Teaching point for defense. As soon as that quarterback starts scrambling, you got to latch on to the nearest guy that's in your zone if you're playing in zone coverage, and just start running with them. But yeah, it's really frustrating when a guy can move around in the pocket like this and throw the ball on the run. He's just running, sees an open guy, and bang, hits him. So that was really the only point I had on that one, Billy.
And I should mention this was also at a really critical point in the game. Arkansas has just scored. It's been deadlocked at 14 for a while. Arkansas scores. All of a sudden, it's the fourth quarter. You look at the clock, and you get an okay running play on first down, but then to come out and do that, it's just really, really impressive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he was poised very much at the end of the game. I think to the winning touchdown pass with late in the fourth quarter. So
yeah,
what you said, Billy, very poised. Let's see, yeah. But what I want to talk about most in this film session, most excited to talk about, was the Texas A&M defense. I think this is going to be the toughest defense Missouri has played so far. We talked about Boston College, having some athletes, but kind of showing you what they're going to give you. Vanderbilt, maybe not as athletic, but they're going to disguise, simulate some pressures, whatnot, to kind of get in Brady Cook's head. I think you're kind of starting to see a mesh of the two here with Texas A&M. But I think you're going to see a defense that is not only very athletic, but is also does a really good job at guys and kind of messing with the quarterback's head. That's what watch most of the Arkansas game, and that's kind of what I take away from their defense. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that plays out in this game.
Yeah, we'll have to see Brady's poise level, especially it's going to be tough to communicate in that environment. How much can you call out? We'll see what they can do.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like, we've seen in the past couple of weeks, Billy, a lot of teams are loving this cover one. This is a lot of times on base downs. I saw A&M running this. They mix it. I will say they mix it up a decent amount. I wish I could give you one coverage that they run the whole time. But they run a decent amount of split safety stuff on the occasional cover three. I like to sit man on base downs. Solid. Get a decent amount of cover one on their base downs. We'll see right here, like we talked about. Outside leverage man. This corner's about a bit of an island, so he's probably playing inside leverage. These guys over here outside the two threats. We got a linebacker on the back and a post safety. One thing I will say, Billy, they didn't show a lot of times, like on pre-snap, a lot of times they line up in two high safeties. Sorry, they line up in two high safeties, which would be, like this guy back here around the hashes, this guy back here on the hashes, 10, 12 yards. This time they actually show it. Arkansas sees this. Bang, quick catch their number one receiver. Talked about this some in passing abilities. How well is Brady Cook? That timing, getting it to Weiss and Burden on those quick routes when they see that matchup right here. That's a time you got to take advantage. If they're in cover one and this guy's playing. This guy's playing almost. And yeah, he's right about the 13. I know this guy's off the ball, but he's right about the 4-yard line. So, he's probably almost 10 yards off. Got to capitalize on that if you're from Missouri. But yeah, a lot of cover one on base downs from A&M. But, we've seen that already for Missouri. So hopefully we can capitalize on that. We like our matchups in there, like Burden in there, like these. So we'll see how that plays out. And then I'll talk about some third down defense they get to. This one's really cool, but I haven't seen a lot of other teams run this. I think it's video game. They call it double bracket. My name is that. I think we have a weird clip of it that'll come up later. So
we did see this concept one time for Vanderbilt down by the goal line. It was a 3rd and goal where it was an obvious passing situation, and it really stunned Missouri down by the goal line. Brady just kind of had to force a throw because it's pretty obvious that Theo and Luther were the initial targets. So we'll have to see if they're a little bit more ready for that concept this week.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you caught that, but I didn't know it said in the Vanderbilt game. Like you said, this is something we'll do a lot of times on defense. If you got a guy that the other quarterback don't want to throw it to, one or two guys maybe take advantage of kind of double teaming guys. you just talked about maybe Missouri can figure out that they're going to run this replay. I will say this safety right here, it kind of looks like he's giving a sandwich call or something. I don't know. That's one of those things you talk about having those 2 weeks off or, 2 weeks in between games, breaking down every little detail. I don't know how much Brady Cook is going to be looking at the other safety calling thing, but little tidbit of information, I guess, for Missouri.
So
But yeah,
this
so
is the
basically
sandwich? Like I'm about to eat the sandwich?
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to maybe it's like a double thing. I don't know. But are you seeing what I'm seeing right here? That
Yeah,
safety
no,
is
I'm
basically
seeing it. I'm just cracking up that it's I mean, the sandwich call makes sense. I just like that he looks like he's about to bite into a BLT.
Sammy. Yeah, we have that one bill. We call it Sammy. So it's one of our cover three ones. Hope no one's listening. But anyways, yeah. So what's happening here, Billy? Is these sandwich call double bracket. We got these two corners outside are basically playing press man. I I think they know that there's a chance they're going to have inside help, but they know that ultimately they're not the guys being double. But these guys in here, it's kind of hard to tell from this angle. But if you look closely, you can kind of see this little line in the turf. Outside leverage off, outside leverage off. These two safeties are keying these number two receivers and basically double bracketing them. Basically, an effective 2-on-2 or 2v1. Sorry about that. And then we got this is another thing I want to bring up, Billy. I love A&M's going to do this a lot. This simulated pressure, where we talk about putting a bunch of guys at the line so you don't know who's going. Here, showing like we're going to bring five. Bang, two guys are falling off. I'd imagine. I don't know if two of them are bracketing the back. Maybe one's for the back and one's the QB spy. Arkansas's got a good running quarterback, so we saw them run, kind of that QB spy concept a lot. And that's a good way. Look, they get pressure with only three guys rushing. Pre-snap, five. Post-snap, we only got three guys rushing, but you're still creating one-on-ones for your defensive linemen because these two guys are basically having to block these two linebackers because they thought they were coming. And now these two linebackers can take up a rusher while also doing their job, QB spy or guarding running back. So that's a really good thing that A&M did in this game. Talk about that double bracket. Look at the way it gets a little funky down here with some collisions, but this is a good example of it up top, Billy. You see the number two running a slant. If I'm this guy, I'm not freaking out because I know running right to my help. That's a great coverage on third and short when you know they're going to be running those little quick routes. Because third and short, try to get that first down. Counter to that, go, get this guy to bite, then go. Hopefully for Missouri, you can see that they're in that sandwich call coverage or whatnot. But it's kind of the story of the game for the A&M offense, Billy. They really confused the Arkansas quarterback a lot. Or sorry, the A&M defense confused the Arkansas quarterback a lot. That simulated pressure, confused our line, got him out of the pocket. Like he's out of the pocket within 3 seconds with a three-man rush on third and short. So really good coverage from A&M. They're a fun defense to watch, but I really enjoyed watching them play.
Yeah, Elko's been one of the best in the business for a while, and obviously has employed some help this season, but it feels like they haven't missed a beat at all defensively. Jay Bateman was the coordinator he brought in, but we've been going back to when he was the defensive coordinator at Texas A&M and then the head coach at Duke. He always gets his guys to play well.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, Billy. We'll talk about another simulated pressure here with that cover one look that we were talking about earlier. Oh yeah, really cool simulated pressure here, Billy. Ends up being a really big play for him. I think they ended up winning the game on a forced fumble similar to this with that simulated pressure. We'll show pre-snap what we're looking at. Bang, all right. We see these five guys are going, giving a cover one look, outside leverage man, got your push safety. We've already walked through all that. And then bang, look who's actually going, Billy. We got this linebacker going. We thought he was on the back. Nope, he's going. Got this safety going. We thought he was on the 3. Nope. Now we got this guy coming off the play on him. And this guy coming off the play on the back. And now they've got some linemen in here blocking no one. But this guy running free. Bang, big play. great way to confuse an offensive line, great way to confuse a quarterback. You can tell he's looking, he's seeing something, but he can't trust. This is great because, a lot of times we talked about them running cover one and base, but if you're a quarterback and you see them running this on film, you can never really know what they're going to be in pre-snap because they'll show you one thing and do another. It's really cool. I was talking to a teammate here about this concept. A lot of times, I think a traditional disguise look, and I think Vanderbilt did this a lot too, would kind of say always show like they're going to be in too high, and then then maybe bring people late, then adjust to like a cover three, then adjust to a cover one late. But a lot of teams recently we've seen, Billy, have come up and said, all right, we're going to show you that we're going to go. And now we're going to drop back into coverage or do whatever sort of thing we want to do. So we had two guys here, Billy. Billy, we have a guy, this dude right here is lined up in almost the A gap. He's lined up this guy's lined up as a defensive tackle. I know he's not a defensive tackle. He's a linebacker. He's lined up as a defensive tackle, and he's coming out and playing man-to-man, which is remarkable. I don't know if you're watching the Bama-Georgia game, Billy. Did you watch that Bama-Georgia game?
I did, yeah.
Do you see them run the engage 8 on the goal line?
Yes.
It was. I could not believe my eyes when I saw that. But the reason that worked, Billy, is because the 3 plays leading up to that. We'll run it back, and I'll try to walk the viewers here what they did. They basically brought 8 people to the line. This is Bama, which
I remember that, and they would drop off.
Yeah, and we've seen that. The Vikings have been doing this a lot in the NFL too, Billy. They'll literally walk. Harrison Smith, the safety for the Vikings. They'll walk him up on the edge or like in the B gap, and then right on the snap of the ball, or like a second before the snap, he's running all the way out and playing like a deep half or something. And so you saw Bama doing this. They had a safety lining up basically over the center, and then running all the way back into a middle third with 8 guys up on the line. But then all of a sudden, if you're Georgia's offense, if you're Carson back, you're seeing that, and you're saying, all right, they're showing this. But I can't necessarily think, oh, I'm just going to throw a quick slant because all these guys are going to drop off into zone coverage or whatnot.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, we're just going to bring 8 and, get a safety. So, it's kind of, I could go into that all day, but it's fun stuff to see. This is something I've really seen this year. I feel like it's progressed a lot. It's like the double mug in the video game or whatever. But, A&M showed this look a lot. That concept of simulated pressure, really fun thing to watch. We'll see what Brady Cook can do. I can't lie, I'm a little worried if I'm a Missouri fan going to this game, watching some of their defense. But here's what I will hit on, Billy. Here's what I will hit on. The reason they're able to do this is because they got him in a passing down. Billy. 3rd and 6, that's third and medium, the 3rd line. They got him in a passing down. I think I've got a run fit earlier here on an outside zone that Arkansas ran, which we've seen Missouri run a lot. But Billy, if you're Missouri, you can't get behind the chain. I think they talked about that some in the Vanderbilt game, but as soon as you get behind the chain, it's advantage defense, and defense is almost all the offensive. They're basically doing what they want to do here. So
yeah, especially when you talk about that environment, like trying to get the communication of where these simulated pressures, how we're going to block this up is going to be nearly impossible because. They've talked about they feel a little bit prepared for the noise, but there's just a limit to what you can do in that environment in terms of mixing stuff up pre-snap, right? So if there is a way to attack it, is it attacking the perimeters? Is it attacking it vertically? Is there a way to come at them if they got defensive linemen dropping and safeties coming on the blitz? I know these guys are linebackers, but guys coming off the line and dropping deep.
Well, I'll answer your question, Billy, and I think it's not the answer you're thinking. I think it all starts up front, Billy.
Okay.
The way to solve simulated pressures is ultimately with the offensive line. This is going to be really important for the offensive line to work their way through, who's coming and who's not coming. A lot of counters you'll see to this to an offensive line. I'm not really a professional on, all the different blocking schemes you can have, but I guess simply put, it's pretty similar to, a defense playing man-to-man or zone. You can block man-to-man, but you can also block and, kind of the zone concept. So, a lot of times I think traditionally, you line up as an offensive line, going way back in the years of football, you line up as an offensive line. You got your guard has your defensive tackle in front of you. You know you're going to block him. You know your center knows he's blocking the nose tackle, whatever. The tackle knows he's blocking the defensive end. So then teams, start doing twists and whatnot, ultimately simulated pressures. So then if you're an offensive line, you develop into being more of a zone blocking team where these guys pre-snap, instead of kind of being like, all right, I know I've got to block him and I know I've got to block him. I'm getting my depth. I see he's releasing. Now I'm looking for the next thing outside of me. Let me step out and let me help out on the second guy. Those are ways you can counter Billy. They're going to have to work through what they want to do to stop that. I really think the answer is going to be up front because, like we said, there was that play. I think the last play showed A&M got to him right away with a three-man pressure. If your O-line's on top of it, that shouldn't happen. Even with the simulated pressure, you should be able to work your way through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's 5-on-3. You got to win that rep for the offensive line. If you're dropping 8 into coverage, Billy, you asked me what are ways we can attack that, whether it's slants, seams, verticals. But anytime you got 8 people in coverage, there's not going to be that many holes. That's just, standard football, you drop 7 into coverage. You're basically got an extra hat in coverage.
Yeah.
So my answer to that question doesn't really rely on what routes we're running or whatnot. I think it's going to have to be up front. I will say, though, a lot of times when we saw them play man, we saw them play cover ones. That kind of means we're trying to funnel people to the inside to our safety, or to, sometimes you got to help, extra linebacker down here, QB spy or whatnot. If I'm Missouri, hopefully you can trust Luther Burden or Theo Weiss or, whoever that, even if they've got to play a guy playing outside leverage on them, they can win that rep by getting outside of them on an out route or on a corner route. Because ultimately it's a defensive back's job to push them inside. You're playing them man-to-man, but you're sitting them inside. If a receiver wins the rep if you can get, break that leverage, get outside of them. So I think that'll be a game plan on Missouri's side to try to break that leverage. Ultimately, this is why you got Luther Burden on your team. This is why you're giving him the chip deal or, whatever you might give them. So you're going to have to show big.
That they will. And these K-State guys, I mean, they get physical too on you. It's not like there's going to be easy wins from your receivers. You're going to have to work hard to get open and make sure Brady can find you in coverage. So these wide receivers are going to have to come ready to go too.
Yeah, they are, but it's a good point. We'll get to more clips of them being physical. This is just another one I wanted to show that I was, watching that game, got a little excited about. Another disguise look, Billy. We're throwing 5 guys at you right here on the line.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like we're playing some sort of like 2-man under, maybe. You've got the 2-high look here. Kind of hard to tell. That guy's almost off the screen, but 2-high safeties. Maybe we're playing quarters or maybe 2-man under with sending all these guys. And then bang, post snap, not anymore, completely different. We'll see the rear view of this one too, but this is a remarkable play by the Arkansas quarterback getting out of this. But we were about to see on the rear view, Billy. Both his first 2 reads were taken up here. This is a great job by that A&M defense. Yeah, here we go. Got the 2-high look initially. 5 guys at the line. I think we ran double slants here for Arkansas. And right now, that slant, if you're playing 2-man under, and this guy's got off coverage, you're sending these 5 guys, that slant should be open. But bang, this guy's dropping in this window. And then this guy playing zone. He's going, oh, no, sorry. We actually had the safety coming down. Yeah, that was my note. Look. Oh, God, this is how far as we got, Billy. Look, we think it's too high. Nope. This guy's playing, this guy's going too high. He's playing cover 2. This guy's coming down in that middle hook, that middle yellow zone. This guy's going all the way over here to this yellow zone. We got this guy in this yellow zone. And I think we got an inverse cover 2 on the bottom side. I'll go back to the other and kind of explain that a little bit. But pre-snap, there's no pre-snap a little bit. If you are this quarterback, do you think that this safety is going to guard a slant from this guy?
If I'm Taylor Green, there's no way I believe that safety's coming across the formation to make that play.
You don't think that's what he's doing at all. But it's a pick if you throw that, and then it's a pick if you throw this one. And he's looking here, then he looks there. That's a pretty great play from the A&M defense, but they don't keep their contain here. We'll talk about that a little bit later. They didn't do a good job keeping contained, whether it was the run or the pass game. Brady can scramble a little bit. You're gonna have to take advantage of that. But this is another one looking at an A&M defense that looks really good. I'll go to the other view to kind of walk you through what they're doing here. All right, looks like we got those two blue zones and then man-to-man underneath, something like that. And then it's going to come down right in the middle. He's getting to this yellow zone. He's the flat player here. He's this yellow zone. We got this deep half over here, and then this safety, let's see if we can see it, is bailing to this half over here. So you're basically playing cover 2 on this side and inverted cover 2 over here.
And that slot corner on the field side is kicking out to play the flats, basically.
Yes, yeah. So we can see it. Anytime you're playing cover 2, Billy, you basically got 3. This safety's getting down here late, but you got your 3 yellow zones, your 2 like light blue zones or whatever. Then you got 2 deep protectors, which would rewind a little bit. You got this safety going down and this cornerback going over top. So just another instance of an A&M defense showing like they're going to bring pressure, showing like they're in one look, coming out to another look. Brady Cook now a veteran. We'll see if he can, what he's made of post snap reads. We kind of talked about him being really good to figure stuff out pre-snap, with the whatever you call it on the game, the X factor, where you can see what guys are going or not. That'd be a really nice thing to have this game, really, if you could actually see what guys are going. That would completely screw everything over. But unfortunately, video games are not real life. That's not how it works. You can't see who's actually going. But we'll see if he, pulls some magic tricks out of his bag. I don't know what they're feeding the D1 guys these days, but we'll see. It's fine. This one's kind of similar to that double bracket look on the backside, Billy.
Yeah.
We're talking about where, you got one. It's a little bit weird for me, but yeah, you got, this guy's basically locking on him. This guy's going to play outside leverage and he's going to help on the inside. Excuse me. But actually, on this one, I think 20 ends up blitzing. This is a really funny play. They both bump into each other. He's trying to run a route. He's trying to go. This is, I wanted to show this one because we talked about, if you see him in that double bracket look, how can you take advantage? But I really think this is another instance, Billy, of when he's showing like he's double bracketing, they're all showing like he's double bracketing. But actually, he's the only one playing man on him. He's blitzing right now because look, Billy, you're not going to play outside leverage man by running to the inside and trying to get by him.
Right.
Yeah, he goes to the quarterback. And no, I don't know. One thing, the first time I saw this, Billy, I thought maybe if we're playing that double bracket coverage, if my guy runs inside right away, am I now a free player? Which a lot of times you'll see this guy runs a slant. All right, I'll funnel him to my other guy. Now I can fall off and try to help on this slant. It's kind of like the Patriots used to do this a lot, though, with Belichick. They'd play cover 1, and they'd all play outside leverage, and they'd have those, that's help linebacker, that one help linebacker inside and one help safety inside.
Yeah.
So as soon as I knew my guy's running a slant, now I can fall off to be the help guy for the new guy coming in, which is a really cool concept. You don't see that too much, but I don't know if that's what you're seeing here, Billy. That it looks like this guy just kind of blitzing, but again, more of the story on this play, Billy. They're going to show you one thing and do another thing, and then that's pretty good man coverage too. Talking a lot about the X's and O's of this all, Billy. But if we're talking about technique wise, the patience from 26 here and that press man number 2 doing all this jiggling, dancing, really good patience from him. Maybe a bit of a hole. I don't think you can call that. It's a DB, but I think it's really good coverage. But good job off the line. Just staying patient. I mean, the receiver is taking about 10 steps before he's even moving at all. Just trying to get you to bite. Doesn't bite. Follows him into help, and then stays with him. That's a good play. We'll see if Missouri's receivers can win those matchups. Because, like I said, boy, that's what Bird's making the big bucks for. He's gonna have to win some of those matchups.
Yeah, interested to see. We'll see how they play it. Kansas State didn't do it last year. Texas A&M didn't do it. If Luther can make a couple plays in the slot, we saw Georgia do it with Kamari Lassiter, who was a guy who played outside all year. I got paid big money in the second round, and excuse me, he was a first round pick at corner. And after about 2 possessions, they move him inside of the slot because they couldn't contain Luther. We'll see if maybe, if he's able to make some plays on Jaden Hill inside, do they move Will Lee, or are they just good enough to scheme around it? And you just ask Will Lee to take care of, Mookie Cooper, Theo, whoever it is on that outside.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, we sit here and talk about all the X's and O's and whatnot. I think I've brought this point before, but at the end of the day, you're playing football and you're going to have to win some matchups, in football. Ultimately, if you're playing man to man, it's called man on man for a reason. Only one guy's going to come out on top. So,
right.
We'll see how that plays into it. Brought this one up, Billy. We were talking about a lot about A&M's third down defense. Talk a little bit about them playing cover one on base down, which they're doing here again, Billy. It looks a little muddy because we've got all these tight ends, but ultimately you got man to man right here. This guy's playing man on the tight end. I can tell you why I know that, because he's not reacting to this as a run block. He's just running with his guy. This is ultimately the outside zone from Arkansas. And they gained 5 yards here, Billy. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you're Missouri, can we establish that outside zone? Can we run it down their throats to ultimately not get in those third and long, third and mediums, or A&M can mess around with their head. Up for A&M, I love their athletes up front on the O line and D line. I think that's where Missouri's going to win. Watching this play, it's a little blurry, but right away, these D linemen on the backside, Billy. I don't think we have a rear view on this. I'm sorry it's so muddy, but this defensive tackle right here, ultimately, I'm pretty sure it's his job to be in the A gap, just based on how many people we've got over here. I think we're going A, B, C, and then we got help on the backside. We're playing man to man here. But he gets reached right away from the guard. It's kind of hard to tell, but these two guys are basically double gapped, sealed off. All these guys sealed off, out leveraged. Excuse me. Ends up being a pretty big run for Arkansas. Not big, but 5 yards isn't necessarily a big run, but that's a winning run. If you can run the ball for 5 yards on average every play with that outside zone, it can be a winning formula for Missouri. Just want to bring this play up to, bring that up. I think that's how Missouri is going to have to win the game, ability to run the ball from an outside zone on their throats.
Yeah. And especially you're going to have to be able to move the ball consistently, keep the crowd out of the game, and you can't just rely on big stuff down the field. You got to make sure you're moving the ball consistently.
Yeah, Billy. I mean, talking about the crowd, that's one thing we don't talk about too much, but the quickest way to give a crowd or a team momentum is to go 3 and out on 3 straight incompletions. I mean, not only is that 3 and out, but you gave them the ball back right away, like no time off the clock. I mean, Missouri, if you're Missouri, I really think you want to slow this game down, not let anything get out of hand. I mean, I know ultimately Missouri's the higher ranked team, and I guess they're not the odds favorite or whatever, but you'd like to think that, they can be in control of the game. But I don't think you want to let this game go too quickly. I think you want to just slow the game down, keep everything in front of you. Marcel's got a cannon. You don't want to let up any big plays. Force him to make those quick throws. He's gonna, they're gonna hit you on some quick throws, especially if you're sitting back playing cover 3. Letting up some spot routes or whatnot. But ultimately, on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball, slow the game down, make Marcel make some mistakes or whatever. Try not to let Brady Cook get in third and long and make some mistakes. Try to trust him to run the ball and make some easy reads. So I think it'll be the story of the game. I think it's the last one we go on A&M's defense, Billy. I've been complimenting them so much already. But one thing I noticed, like I said a little bit earlier, didn't do a great job of containing this game, not only just on the quarterback. Contain being, staying outside and making sure everything stays inside of you on the run game, or if it's a quarterback scrambling. This is the second time Arkansas ran this play in the first quarter, Billy, and it worked twice. Just a jet sweep on the outside. Talked about Missouri running the outside zone a lot, and we love to get burned on those sweeps and whatnot. That'll be another way to capitalize on early downs. 1st and 10 here for Arkansas, and a good counter. They can either run outside zone over here, or just run a sweep over here. And look for them, go to adjust to that, and week of preparation. Try to do a better job of contain. That's another advantage we can take on the A&M defense. I guess in general, yeah, I love their third down defense. I love their pass defense. I think there's a couple holes you can attack on the base downs. That'll be the story. I mean, you got to win the base downs. I've said it like 3 times. You got to win those base downs.
And not to mention, I mean, you look at Shamar Turner, Nick Scorden, like they got some dudes that can rush the passer. And do you think if you have some stuff running horizontally, that at least kind of slows down that pass rush a little bit if these edge guys are constantly looking around, worried about losing contained?
It definitely does. Billy. I think look for Missouri to whether or not they're going to hand this off on the jet motion or whatnot, running some fake, some jet motion just to fake it to him to keep this guy honoring it. A lot of times they'll have a linebacker honoring that, but right now this defensive lineman isn't honoring that at all. That's a good point, Billy. I agree. I think if you're running that jet motion a lot, you're going to make him honor that and potentially slow down that pass rush. Because yeah, like you said, Blake, they've been able to get to the quarterback pretty quickly. The simulated pressure helps a lot. Ultimately, those defensive linemen, even when they're rushing 3 or 4, they're able to get to the quarterback pretty quickly. I like that answer from you, but I like that jet motion. Good call.
You got anything else for us, Ryan, or are you ready to give us a score prediction before you head out?
I don't know. Let's see. You said A&M was 2.5-point favorites right here.
That's correct.
Billy, I hate to do it, but if I were a betting man, I think I may bet on the Aggies at home here. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be reading Missouri. I'd like to think it won't be too high of a scoring game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Missouri is going to try to slow that game down, and I think they're going to try to keep things in front of them. And I think A&M is going to run a lot of that lead option, keep the clock running. I think I'm going to have to give A&M. I'm going to give A&M 27, Billy. I'm going to give Missouri 21. That's my final score, Billy.
Yeah, I've been right in there. I've been saying 24-21, been going back and forth. I think the difference in this ball game is going to be 1 turnover. Both these teams have done a remarkable job of taking care of the ball. 1 interception between the 2 quarterbacks, and that was a 4th down throw. I'm never going to hold that against the quarterback. He's turning it over, pass the sticks on 4th down. So I think there's going to be 1 turnover that turns this ball game on its head.
Yeah, Billy, I'm really glad you brought that up. Because the 2 things we never talk about at all in here. We break down the X's and O's of offense and defense, but we don't talk about turnovers and we don't talk about special teams. This is one of those games we're going into it. You're sitting in special teams meetings during the week. And, a lot of times you're like, all right, make sure I want to know how to do my job or whatnot. But this is one of those weeks where every single yard, field position wise, in the special teams is going to matter. Like you said, 1 turnover can make a complete difference here. We saw Missouri had a little bit of struggles in the kicking game last time out 2 weeks ago against Vanderbilt. That's going to be a big part of this game, Billy. They're going to have to capitalize on those field goals, punt the ball well, maybe force a special teams turnover. It's one of those games where if you've got some crazy fake punt dialed up or some crazy punt block dialed up, you might want to bring it out because this is a game you really want to win. So, yeah, I'm with you, Billy. Turnovers and special teams, those sort of intangibles could play a big role in this because ultimately this is a really evenly matched game. I said I like A&M's defense on those 3rd downs, but I really think this is a very evenly matched game. So we'll see what that if the turnover happens or whatnot.
Well, Ryan, thank you as always for your time. This was awesome. I'm excited for people to get to hear it, and best of luck to you Saturday. People can tune in if they want to at 1 o'clock. Should be a fun one. You guys are playing. Who you guys got on Saturday?
Illinois Wesleyan. Shout out to Bloomingdale or whatever the heck you call it, Illinois, for you to get the chance.
Yeah, we'll go get in there and give it to them. Thank you again. Appreciate you. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Billy. Can't wait to do it again.